You can't hear me right now, can you?
I can hear you talk, just don't hear no music.
This is super weird.
So you just want me to mute the music track?
No, not yet. We got 20 seconds. But we'll probably want to pull it up on your phone just to see if you hear me talking at least.
Turn it up halfway.
Can you hear me?
I hear you through the headphones. Wait,
All right. Welcome back to another recording of the Elevate Media Podcast. I'm Chris Anderson, your host. Today I'm going to dive into different microphones and how they sound. So excited to dive into this and just walk you through. We have 4 mics to walk you through today that we have. And so first I'm going to check with Kevin over on the sound stuff. Can you check on your phone to see if things are coming out audio-wise? And if you're listening in, give me a comment if you can hear me. I think we're good. Is it playing? Oh, perfect. Awesome. Hey, doing an episode about microphones. Got to make sure the sound's going right. Another thing, Kevin, can you turn up the music? I want to see if we can hear that on the phone for people, just because we're curious. Because live stream, we want to do more of these, and we want to kind of get stuff right. So we're also doing this as a test. So. All right, so no music right now. We'll figure that out. But anyways, we're going to dive into this. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and we will get to those as well as we're going. But, if you're in the world of podcasting or video production, you know how crucial audio is to your recordings. So we're going to dive into these different mics, all right? So there are lots to choose from out there, right? Which microphone is right for you, and it's a crucial piece of your video content, of your video podcast, and it can really affect the quality of, what piece of content you're putting out there. So there's lots of microphones out there that we use in the field, that we use in the studio, and each has unique characteristics and best use scenarios. So we're kind of going to break that down. Again, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to put them in the chat wherever you're watching. Would love to get to them and bring them on. But first, I'm going to talk about dynamic microphones. And dynamic microphones, they are a little bit more rugged, and they can handle higher sound pressure levels as well. And their frequency, which is all stuff you probably don't care about, is more limited. But these dynamic microphones are best used for live recordings, field recordings, situations where you might have some more background noise. So you're not maybe in a treated studio or a really soundproof studio. So dynamic could be a better fit for you. Dynamic microphones could be a better fit for you if you have some background noise going on, which sometimes happens, obviously. And then with dynamic, a lot of times they have a warmer sound, a fuller sound, but they can also lack in some high frequency detail. So for example, we've got the Shure MV7 that we used to use as a microphone. Right now you're listening to me talk through a condenser microphone, which we'll get to as well. Again, Shure MV7, the Shure SMB7, they're a lot of times used in podcasting because of that rich vocal quality. I went with the boom mic over that, or I changed because I preferred it to be out of frame and not have the microphone on camera and things like that. So boom mic better fit that setting for me. But the MV7, it's got great vocal quality. It's great background noise rejection. And a cool thing about the MV7 is the USB connection, so you can go straight to the computer when you use this. So if you don't have an XLR cord or a mixer to go into like we do, you can use the Shure MV7 and go straight into your computer through a USB a plug. So, and if you have a Mac, you can have an adapter that can do that as well. And this is a cardioid mic. And what that means is most of the sound is picked up in the front and just off to the edges just a little bit. And less it picks up no sound from behind it. So that's just what, if you ever hear cardioid or supercardioid, that's what that means. So we're going to go ahead and mute the boom mic. and start talking through the Shure MV7. So you might hear a little bit of a change in the sound, a little bit richer, fuller sound with this one. Again, that has to do with being able to get closer to the mic, as well as it being dynamic versus the condenser. So this is just a difference between the Shure and the one you heard previously, which was the Audio-Technica boom mic. So that's the Shure. All right, going back now, we're going to be talking about condenser microphones. So I'm talking on a condenser microphone right now, the Audio-Technica. Some things about these mics are that they're a little bit more sensitive and responsive than dynamic mics. So they have a broader frequency response and just overall better response there. These are really good for a studio setting if you're podcasting, you're doing voiceover work or some musical recordings, but a little bit better studio is good for these. We're in an open space where we're recording, but we do have it treated somewhat with furniture, with rugs, with books, with like woody kind of things. So the books, the rugs, the furniture all help absorb some of the echo, so it makes it sound a little bit better. And again, I chose the boom mic because I wanted it out of frame. I didn't want it in the video frame itself, and I still wanted a good mic to pick up the sound. So in these condenser, they're going to be clear and more detailed, and you can capture some of the more nuances in speech, but they can pick up more background noise if you're not careful with that. Again, the Audio-Technica AT875R is what I use right now, and you know, condensers are popular in home studios because of the clarity. And again, this one specifically, condenser is a boom mic, so it's a cardioid, so it helps reject some of that external noise that's out there and focuses directly in front. That's just what a boom mic is, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more later on. But a cardioid, or excuse me, a condenser in general, you have to be careful of external background noise because it can pick up more that way. So that's the condenser mic. Then we're going to move on to these little guys, the lavalier microphones. So the good thing about lavs is they're small. They're clip-ons. You know, you can use them all over the place. If you're moving a lot, these are really good. If you have an interview that you want a wider shot and you don't want the boom mic in the shot, lavalier mics are really good for those. Or if you're off and there's a lot of movement running around, laving someone up is going to be easier. Or if you're in a location where you just can't get a boom mic to them, we just did a shoot for a contractor who was on the roof doing some recording. We're not going to get up there with a boom mic and things like that, so a lavalier was our best option. So it just clips on. Again, best use is for on-camera uses, interviews, and again, situations where the microphone needs to be unobtrusive and not in the shot. And these mics, you know, they can vary, but generally they provide good vocal clarity. But you have to watch out for when you're wearing them, the rustle of clothing or hair or how you handle it. These specifically, we've noticed that if the antenna kind of gets bumped, it can cause some disturbance in the sound and cause some noise that we don't want. So you have to be careful how you hook it on the individual so their coat or their belt or themselves aren't hitting the antenna and it's clear, so you can have a good view of the receiver as well. Again, this is the Sennheiser EW112P G4. Yeah, a mouthful there, and that's what we have and use right now. Again, condenser, often used in video production for being discreet, having clear audio, but with this, it's also omnidirectional, which means it can pick up audio from all around in all directions. So you have to be careful. If you're outside, a windscreen over it will be important, but it can pick up sound from all around. So let's go ahead and switch over to the Sennheiser Lav so we can see what that sounds like if it was clipped on. All right, so this, right now what you're hearing is the Sennheiser Lav mic. You'll notice a difference in how it sounds. You probably want to use it for everyday recordings if you're in a studio, but if you're on the go, if you're in the car, you know, there's also the DJI Rode mics that we have that are good. We just don't have them with us at this moment. But yeah, they give you a lot of freedom to move about, and you just have to have the the pack and the receiver connected to what you're recording on. So we have it connected right now to the Rodecaster. You can use it to Zoom H6 or Zoom, something like that can collect the sound, or directly into your camera if you're using a DSLR or something like that. So again, this is the Sennheiser Lav. All right, back on the boom mic here, the Audio-Technica. Shotgun mics, that's the next thing we're going to talk about. These are very highly directional, and they're designed to focus on the sound from one direction. So which is why they're super important to be facing and pointed at around chin level of the person talking. And it rejects any side and rear noise. So it's a super cardioid pattern, which means it's even more directly right in front of the person. So straight ahead of the mic. This is great for video production, especially if you're outdoor or in maybe an untreated environment, because it is so directionally pointed that you're going to pick up a lot better. That's why you see the guys with the boom mics out in the field when they're recording with the big fuzzy thing on the end, of dead cat. That's to protect from wind, but again, to get really directional sound pickup from the person talking. And so these are focused, again, clear in the direction they point, so you have to make sure it's pointed at the individual talking. And if you're in a big hollow room, sometimes it can sound a bit distant or hollow because of the waves going out and less absorption going around. So we're going to give it, obviously you've been hearing this condenser, the Audio-Technica, but we're going to show you what the Sennheiser MKH416 condenser boom mic, and this is what we do out in the field with our big documentary interviews, brand story type videos because of its clarity and direction. And this is a super cardioid. So we'll switch over to the Sennheiser MKH416. All right. So this is the difference between the two and how you would have it, distant wise away. Obviously, I'd have it a little farther because I wouldn't want it on camera, but just for this sake and purpose, this is what this one sounds like. So it's pointed directly at my mouth and chin to pick up the sound, and it's super, super focused on that. And again, when you're out in the field, we'd have it in a big blimp. This actually slides into a blimp or a case, basically, for wind protection, and then we put over a big fuzzy dead cat, again, to just get out any other sound that could be trying to get through, especially wind, as we're recording. But this is great. Held on a boom mic. You can, with the boom mic, can move it as the person, who's talking moves. So you have to have someone manning this specifically if the person is moving and talking, so it continues to get directionally right at their mouth. So that is the Sennheiser MKH416. Awesome. Cool. So again, those are the main types. There are ribbon mics out there, but most people don't use those unless they understand it all and they have a specific purpose. But choosing the right microphone, dynamic versus condenser. If you're in a louder, more live, more noisy environment, or you don't have it really treated and there's going to be a lot of background noise, you're probably going to want a dynamic mic. But if you have a controlled studio with great sound, deadening stuff around, then a condenser might be better for you. So you just got to weigh the pros and cons of the mic and your location and what's going to be best for you and your setup. Again, lavs, unless you have a lot of people that you need to mic up, or there's a lot of movement that you can't control with a boom mic, or you just want it hidden and hands-free, these are good options as well. And then shotgun, this is when you're really trying to isolate the voice or the audio from a noisy environment like outside. So this is a real ideal if you're just trying to get out of the shot, like you don't want the mic across the screen. You can choose a boom or shotgun to highly focus on the individual talking. So those are different types of mics, what they sound like, some of their strengths and weaknesses, and what to think about if you're trying to upgrade or pick a mic. So it really depends on your requirements, where you're recording, the type of content you're producing, and what kind of sound quality you're trying to get. So yeah, like for us, we have a lot to choose from based on what we're recording or the type of content we're trying to create or get. So it really depends on you. If you're just doing podcast episodes, maybe the the Shure MV7 is going to be your best bet for a lot of people's setups. So just some things to think about. If you want to look into any of the mics I mentioned today, I have linked them in the description below, so you can check those out. They're all to Amazon, so you can get all the specs, all the reviews, all that fun stuff there. And then if you're interested in, maybe outsourcing some of the work of editing of your video podcast, or maybe you have a course created that you want to take to that next level and have some visual effects and things added to it, or maybe you have a video project that you've wanted done, like a brand story video that you just don't have the bandwidth or the technical skill or the equipment to do. We'd love to hear from you. Again, there's a link to schedule a call. Right now we're doing a Christmas special until January 12th where you get 20% off those services with us. So we'd love to just chat and see if we're a fit, see if we can help you out and elevate your brand out there. So, but until next time, continue to go out there, elevate your life, elevate your brand, and we'll talk to you again soon.